Okay. Hello, everybody. My name is Alberto. I suppose that you are maybe hearing me. I I hope and see me. I'm from Spain. I'm more or less two 2,000 kilometers from you. All of this will be easier if I weren't so far. I work as a software architect at Mimacom in the office of Spain, but in the north of Spain, this is not the land of paella and sun and all these things. This is another kind of Spain. And for the last year, I have been working with Elasticsearch and with log analytics and all these things. I'm basically a Java developer, but I love to learn all these new things. So I have lucky to know all these tools. Today I will talk about these tools, about the ELK stack from the Elasticsearch family, and I will show you some demo about how these tools works together. I will do my best to not take you a lot of time. I promise. If this presentation were in Spanish language, my mother tongue, probably this will take several hours. But in English, it's not so easy for me, so I will take only half an hour more or less. So now I will share my screen in order to start with the presentation. I hope that you can see my screen now. Okay. I will appreciate any feedback about if you are seeing my screen, Ivana, please. Okay. So I will start now. I think that the first, well, you have here my contact information. If you need something, here is my email at my Twitter account. I'm not a very popular person in Twitter. I didn't tweet a lot, and most of the things are about my personal life and sports and things like that. So it's not very interesting probably. And you have also the Twitter account of Mimacom. But I would like to start this presentation talking about what is ELK. Okay, this is an elk. Is an animal, as you can see. I don't know if there in Slovakia there are any elks, but here in Spain I sure that there is no any elk from here. But this is the name that a stack inside the Elasticsearch family takes to point to three different tools. These tools are Elasticsearch, Logstash, and Kibana. And all these tools together are very good tools to every work related to logs analytics. This doesn't mean that all these tools are specialized in logs, because Elasticsearch and Kibana are generic tools in order in order to view data information in order to search for something. But here, one of these two Logstacks is the center of this stack. Is the one tool that is specialized in logs analytics. So you can get every log into Logstack, and then you can process or filter everything and get the result you are looking for. So keep in mind that we are going to talk about these three tools today. When we need this kind of tools, for example, if you get a request like this from someone who wants to know what's happening in some application for a period of time or something like that, when we usually get this kind of request, we turn a little bit crazy, more or less. Are you kidding me? Please don't request this to me. Request it to my colleague. He's always boring. I don't know, browsing Facebook and all these things. He's not working. Please don't do this to me. It's a typical reaction. At least is my reaction when I need to do this kind of jobs. So if we have the good tools to do this, is everything is easier. Uh, Even if we have these tools, probably we are not going to do the job because another people will be able to do it. When we think about log analytics, we have a lot of nightmares about what we are going to do. We think about this kind of logs. It doesn't matter that it's a syslog, a Apache log, our application log. All the logs are the same, are letters and letters and more letters. And it's difficult. It's difficult to deal with all this information if we don't have the proper tools. When we receive this kind of request, this is a typical reaction. This could be any of you. This could be me. Actually, this is me. This is me the last time someone asking me for do something like that, and it's not a good situation because I start thinking about what word I need, about what tools to use, maybe some terminal tool, maybe I need to filter every log, or sometimes I need to create in my mind the result and I can make a fake report about everything. I have a lot of ideas when I face this kind of problems. But if any of you had a proper tool to analyze these logs, everything go easier. This is how I met ELK. ELK is the ELK stack. I'm going to make a stop here to show you here ELK. I have it here. Is really I have here the pet is not just a picture, and he's going to be with us during the presentation today. So I will go back to the presentation. In here, okay. And I was talking about the day I met ELK. At the first moment, I was a little bit surprised because I read a lot of things about it, but I didn't know how to use it. And I previously I had to work hardly with this kind of logs, and I knew that that's a hard work. I didn't know if this tool will accomplish this goal and I will achieve my goal. But I think it will. So the first step here is to know what is Logstash, because Logstash is the most important tool in this stack from my point of view, because a lot of people think that the most important tool is Kibana because it's going to allow us to view all this information, but I think that this is the center of this stack. What we are doing with log stacks? Mainly, we are going to feed our pet in this case. I mean, we are going to give some food. This food is in the way of a log, and then it will going to process all this information. So how can I feed log stacks with all the information it needs? Okay, it's not necessary that you read all these slides, but these are the input plugins that Logstacks provides out of the box. Some of them are provided by the people who developed Logstacks, and other by the community, but we have all of them. We have input plugins for almost everything. I have pointed two of them, Lumberjack and File, because I think that there are two of the most important maybe of all of these. And with this plugin, we are going to be able to set up where are our logs and how Logstash can get these logs in order to work with them. So maybe the most used one is the file, or maybe an S3 if we want to connect to some Amazon services or something like that. But all of them has a similar configuration. If we are using the file plugin, we will set a type for our log. We will come back there to this type in order to know what it means. And in this case, for the file plugin, we will need to set where is the path of the log. Here is an example for a access log in Apache, which is in /var log apache2 access.log, and then wherever, because if you used to work with Apache log, you know that at the end of the extension you can find a number or something like that, and then we are excluding all the compressed, the zipped logs format. So this is a very simply configuration that we can add to our Logstash file in order to read Apache logs. And then what we need to do is teach Logstash in order to understand what he is eating in this case. I mean, we are fooling this a tool with lots of logs, but it doesn't know how to understand these logs. So the second step is teaching it how to deal with these logs. For this thing, we have a similar structure. We have a lot of filters that we are going to use in order to deal with these logs. I have pointed again the most important for me, that are the grok one, which is the one we are going to use in order to parse a complex log into terms or whatever we need. And there are a lot of them, like this mutate or translate, that we can use in order to change the content that we are receiving the log, because you know that sometimes in the log you get something like an ID or a number or something like that, but we want something easy to understand, something like I don't know, maybe the name of the customer which that ID represents or something like that. So for this thing we can use the translate plugin, or the mutate is easy to understand. It's only to change, for example, to change some value from a string to a date or to a number, or this kind of jobs. And we have lots of filters again in order to work with JSON formats or CSV, or maybe multi-line logs like the Java stack trace and all these things. So we can use a lot of them. We have a lot of documentation of these plugins in the Logstash web page. And we use this in a very similar way in which we define input plugin. Now we are going to filter our log, and here I'm using the grok plugin in order to deal with this log. In this case, I have a pattern defined that is combined Apache log, so it's very easy to configure this because I don't need to parse the log, because it's a very standard format. So grok knows how to do it instead of defining it manually. And here is where the type is very important, because in one installation for Logstash we can find lots of logs, Apache logs, and I don't know, sys logs, and some custom logs, a lot of kind of logs. So we can here split these logs into different types, and for each type we can have a different way to deal with it. And finally, I have we will have to we will get an output about this log. I don't have any picture about the output because everything that was in my mind was very rude, but I think that you can understand where is an output without a picture. This time I think that the most important thing here is Elasticsearch, because if we use another output different of Elasticsearch, we are not speaking about ELK stacks, sino about another combination of tools. But we have a lot of tools in order to export these logs. Very important one here is also Nagios, because it will allow us to, for example, to set up some alerts. If we find some conditions or something like that, we can launch an alert with Nagios, or we can put a message in the IRC channel or in Jira or wherever we need. But now we are going to center in Elasticsearch, because is the tool that is part of this ELK stack. So we will configure this output plugin. Here we are using Elasticsearch. I'm using this embedded attribute is to point if we are going to use an existing Elasticsearch, or if we want to create a new one instance of Elasticsearch on the fly each time I run Logstacks. And then the index name. Here the index name is Apache dash and timestamp. It's a common way to define the name of the index here in Elasticsearch and this combination of tools. So in order to view all this process, the first thing I need is to get my logs. I don't care where my logs are. I will configure Logstacks in order to get these logs, or I will configure my server in order to send my logs to Logstacks. Then I will filter and process all these logs, and finally I will get an output. Here the most important thing, as I said, is Elasticsearch, but we have a lot of options. So if we see this with an example, we will receive in a file a line like this. Is a Java one log entry here with a timestamp and the class, the line or where the one was launched, and a message. And then when it arrives to grok filter, we will get something like that. We will split all this information, that it's only one line of information with no sense for a machine. We will split this log in a format like that, where we have the timestamp, the level, the class, the line, and the message. And finally, Logstacks will put everything in Elasticsearch. Elasticsearch uses a JSON format for persist everything, so we will have something like that. So from one no sense line, no sense for machines, because we can understand obviously the first line, we will have a structure information persisted in our Elasticsearch. So this is the second important thing here, the Elasticsearch in the ELK stack. This is what Elasticsearch represents in our world. Is how we rest. Is in the way in which we persist everything. The food is waiting inside our Elasticsearch for whatever. Is waiting until the moment we need it, and we ask Elasticsearch for it. So here the information is always stopped. Is doing nothing here. Elasticsearch is, if you take a look at the Wikipedia, Elasticsearch is not a tool specialized in this kind of jobs. I mean, it's not specialized in deal with logs. It's a search server. But here is what we need. We have our two Logstacks that can take these logs and work with them, and then we have Elasticsearch in order to extract the information for this log. We have a full text search engine, and we can search in these logs. We can get graphics, and we can get lots of information, because you need to think that this is very useful if you have lots of logs. This is not only for one line of log, because it's faster if we read this line. This is very useful when we have a million or some millions of logs, or something like that. It's not just for one log. How does all of this work? I will not stop a lot of time here, because it's the way in which Elasticsearch works is a little bit complex, but it's easy to understand, because we have our cluster in Elasticsearch. Everything is under a cluster, and in this cluster we will have some nodes. We will have one single node or a lot of nodes. It doesn't care. Elasticsearch is in charge of auto discovery all these nodes, and we don't need to configure each node manually. It's pretty easy to use. Inside these nodes, we will have some indexes. Indexes here, you need to think here, an index is like I don't know, like the packaging we are going to store all the information. Imagine in this case, we are dealing with some logs, one log for Apache, another log for syslog. So here, each log will be in a separated indexes. And then inside these indexes, we will have shards and replicas. This is a concept that Elasticsearch uses to identify the way in which it will persist the information. I think is here we will find losing indexes. So in each shard, on each replica, we will find the final information we are persisting here. Then if we have time, we can talk about how Elasticsearch works with all these shards, these replicas, how it manages to split the information and to locate the information again, but it's not now a good time, because I prefer to speak about the logs analytics. And the last thing here is Kibana, is the other important tool here, because until this moment we have a lot of information. This information is in Elasticsearch, but we don't have a proper tool to analyze this information. Here with Kibana is when the Padawan becomes a Jedi Knight. Here he is Logstash is ELK, the one which is going to teach us what we have. I mean, we give him some information. We explain, we teach him how to use this information. Now he explains us what we have in this information, what we cannot see before. We are seeing it now. Basically, this is a tool for data visualization and analytics. It's based on the idea of having several dashboards that we can customize, and we will add all the information we need. You can see here in the screenshots some of these graphics or maps or whatever. And now from the very last of the previous year, the last year, we have the Kibana 4 Beta 3, that it's a better Kibana version. We have more kind of graphics. We have better maps that disappear in previous versions. We have highlighting when we are searching, and lots of new functionality that it's pretty good. I think I tested this version. It's quite stable. Is we can use it, but I think that it's going to be a very good improvement for Kibana 3. That it's the one that I'm using now. So I have prepared. I have a short demo about all these things working, in order to see how to work with these tools. So I will show you firstly something here. I have two different logs here. One of them is an Apache log. It's here. You are used to work with these kind of logs, and this is sorry, this is a different log from a custom application. Imagine this is an application that works with flights. So we have here some information like the date of the flight, the name of the person who is traveling, the origin and the destiny of the flight, and the duration in minutes, for example, of this flight. So what we are going to need is something like that. For Apache log, you saw it this before in the presentation, where we define where is our log, which filter we are going to use, and then what is our output. In this case, I'm using an embedded client of server of Elasticsearch. And for the flights log, is something similar. Here we are using more filters. I'm using this grok filter that you know in order to parse the log, but I have here a date filter in order to know which is the date in my log, and transform it to this at timestamp. That is it's a field that Kibana will use in order to filter everything by date. And then I'm converting here some information from the original string to an integer. Is the same here. In this way we will do some operations, I don't know, sums or average or something like that with this thing. There is a very good tool in order to get this, in order to know how to parse all my logs. This tool is grok debugger. That is, it's a tool that will allow us to test our grok expression. If we have, for example, testing grok, we can here test our parse expression. We have here several options. Maybe the most complicated one is to use directory regular expressions. We can define something like I don't know. This is the action, for example, and a regular expression for these words here. So we are parsing everything. You can see it here. That now we are. Sorry, I lost my mouse. Probably I get out of battery. So there is no problem. I can use the path of the laptop. So here we are defining this expression. So we are getting the first word, texting under the name of action, and then we can get the second word. For example, I'm going to your thing, and here we have two different terms: the action and the theme. The action is testing, in the theme grok. So this expression will work with another things like drinking beer. So the action is drinking and the thing is beer. So I can use all of these things, but this will be very hard if we had a more complex logs like these ones. For example, if we get this, thank you. If we get this log and we need to parse everything with regular expression, it's going to be really hard. So the best way here is to use some predefined patterns. I have recovered my mouse again, thank you. So we can use predefined patterns. We have some of them in here. These are supported out of the box for grok, and we can define our own patterns. So we have lots of them here, you know, in order to deal with Java logs or with everything. So we can use this and get an expression like this one. I will copy and paste it because it's faster. we can get something like that. That is our expression who parse all these logs. We have the first thing I have is the date in a European format. The day, the month, and the year. So we have this value here, the date. Then we have a word with the name of the person, the from, to, and the duration, which is a number, and we have here all our log already parsed. So these terms are going to be persisted in Elasticsearch. That it's the important thing here, that we are parsing this log and we are getting exactly the information that we need in order to pass it to Elasticsearch. And then the last step is to work with this. I have in here Logstars running. I launch it with this sentence. I don't know if you can read it, but I'm launching here a Logstars agent, and I passing as a parameter the flight log configuration. I mean, this is this configuration. So at this moment, this ELK, this logstats, is reading all the files that are in this path in my hard disk, or this path, and reading for a log that get this format. And finally, I'm applying these filters. What I get here is that I can use now Kibana. In here, I have here a sample dashboard that is provided out of the box from Kibana, and I can find this is the first thing that Kibana provides, that it's reading all the indexes in Elasticsearch and get this information. I have here my flights log and my Apache access log. If I set here my Apache access log, all the information that I have in here now, it's about Apache. I can get more interesting things here. For example, I can get the request. I can get the I don't know, maybe the message and the verb I getting. So I can filter here the information. I'm not going to stop in here because YouTube is full of videos about how to parse Apache logs with the ELK stack, because it's the typical example that everyone do. So I will show you how to do the same, but with our log, with this log about flights. I have here a previous saved dashboard about all this information. This is all the information I had about flights. I think that there are almost 4 millions of entries about this thing. I generated it with a script, so the statistics here is very good, and you can see that everything is almost the same because it's what the statistics say. So we have here very equal values. And how can we work with Kibana? I have configured this dashboard before, but we can do it in a very simple way. We can delete this, for example, this information, these graphics, and we can add the information here with this button about add panel. We can find here all the panels that Kibana support. This is Kibana 3, and in Kibana 4 we will find a lot of new panels, and then we can add what we need. For example, we are searching some terms. I don't know. Maybe the name of the people. I want 5 people in here, and I want to count, for example, the times that this each people appears in this information. So if I save this, I have this kind of chart. It's more or less the same that we had before. And we can add all the things. We can configure it from here. We have here to select. We need to select here the index that we are reading. I have a little tool here in order to show you in my Elasticsearch. This is what I have now in Elasticsearch. I have 3 indexes: flights, Kibana int and the one from Lostax. This is a default one, and we are working with this one, the flights. That it has 4 million entries that you can of documents that you can read here. So when I set up this dashboard. When I set up this dashboard, I need to select which index is going to provide the information, and then I can define some rows. Here you can see 3 rows: graph, stats, and events. That are these 3. This one with the graph, this one with the stats, and this one which is a table with all the information. And now, if we finish to configure all the dashboard, I put it all also in white color, because I think that it's better than the dark one that is provided by default. But now we can work. We search with all of this? The easiest way is if we query for something. For example, we can query for Monica, which is one of the persons who is here, and everything is refreshed automatically so only results that get this term Monica. In this case, we have only one result, that is this one. Here we can see all the information about this thing, and now we are going to search for something better, maybe all the flights from Madrid. Here we have the people who flights from or to Madrid: Amador, Elena, Rosario, Javier, and Rebecca are the top 5 of these people. And here we have all the information, and we can continue filter everything. If we want to see also only the information, the flights from Madrid and who Elena did, we can click here, and everything is refiltered again. And now we are seeing here is in the time how Elena flight in the time. Here is also on only Elena, of course, and here are all the flights that Elena did from or to Madrid. And we can still filtering all these things. We can, for example, we can see here that this flight was from Madrid to Sydney, and we can delete Sydney from here. So now we are deleting all the results that contain Sydney in the two field. And the same for Madrid. We only need to know when the flights that she did from Madrid. We can, for example, delete Madrid from the destiny. Here we can delete this, and now we have only the flight that Elena did from Madrid to anywhere. All these filters are being in here, so we can delete all the filters or some of them as we need. And we can also make a more complex query if we combine some of them. For example, we are interested in the flight from or to Madrid and from or to Oviedo. In this case, we are combining all of these, so we have all the results from one, and from Oviedo, and all the results from Madrid. We can see here the different colors for all of them. So now here we know that all the results needs to fit one of these conditions, or they are from or to Madrid, or they are from or to Oviedo. So we can as you can see, we can accumulate some queries in order to make better searches in our indexes. And we can also filter everything by some dates. For example, I'm only interested in know what happens here, and why there is this high value here. So we can filter everything in order to know what happened. This was my fault. You can see that here Alberto was the person who did more flights in this time period. And we can play with all of this as we need. We can add also more information if we want, and we can configure almost everything. This is very powerful, and in Kibana 4 we will find this map information that will allow us to show all these things in a map, not only seeing here the origin or the destiny airport, airport, but we can show it in a map, for example, in a world map with all the airports or what we need, because previously we can use we can use logstacks in order to add the geo position of some of this information. And all of this works on the fly. I mean, I have here my flight log. I can add a new log, for example, for Ivana, that I'm sure that is listening to me. So I can add here Ivana with the date of today, and I can save this information. As far as our log stacks is reading my flight, my logs, now I could make here a new search, and I can search for Ivana, and we are finding this entry here. That is the one that I have just had. I hope you trust me. This is the one that I have just add, and here we can find all the information. It's a flight from Barcelona to Paris. Lucky you, Ivana. So here from Barcelona to Paris, a 45 minutes flight, and we can find everything here. You can play with all of this because there are a lot of panels in here. We have a lot of panels to show. For example, this stats panel, it's very useful if we want to make some arithmetic operation with the information we have. For example, we can get the total of time that our people have been flying, and a little bit of more information maybe here, and here, and we will have all these things. Ivana has been flying only for 45 minutes, but if we search for all the people, we have a very big amount of information. We know that the minimum time on flight is 35 minutes, and the most one is 600 minutes. So I hope that you have enjoyed this little demo. And the last question I will like to answer is, what do I need to install these things? And it's a very, very, very faster. It's very easy to answer this question because there is no just one approach. We will have a lot of them. We can find something like that is, for example, what I have in my laptop, everything in the same server. Here I have Logstacks and Elasticsearch and Kibana, and I read information from the servers. Or we can find, this is a very typical one, if we have hundreds of servers. For example, we work with some customers with several hundreds of servers, so we can install Logstacks in each server, and each server will deal with his own logs, and then they will be sent to Elasticsearch in order to persist the information and read from Kibana in another machine. Here we have a 7 nodes Elasticsearch cluster and a lot of Kibana, a lot of Logstacks nodes, because each server has its own Kibana installation. And this is the last approach. For example, we can find something like this with our servers. Then we can find some nodes of Logstacks that will be in charge of reading all the logs and process everything. I have here this arrow that it's pointing on both sides, because we can do this on. We have two options. We can have something in the servers that send the information to Logstacks, or we can have Logstacks reading the information from the servers. Here is where Lumberjack is a very good protocol that it has been implemented, but for Elasticsearch, in order to encrypt all the information that travel from one server to another one, and it's very useful. And then we have Elasticsearch and Kibana and so on. So that's all. I hope you have enjoyed this presentation. I don't know if I can help you with any question or something like that, but anyway, I would like to thank you, all of you, for being here, for letting me being here, and for all of this. So thank you very much. Really, thank you very much.
thank you, Alberto. Do you have questions?
Okay,
Does anyone have a question?
no questions?
Wait, Alberto, we have a question here.
Okay.
Alberto, do you hear?
Well, no, it's very very far. Maybe these 2,000 kilometers are too much.
Okay. Okay, what was the biggest number of the records you had in implementation of Elasticsearch or in production of ELK? Yeah, pretty good.
Is-
Hello, hello.
Sorry, that was the question, and the question was
The question was,
I understand something about how many records we can have in this ELK installation or something like that.
which was the biggest number of records you had in implementation of or in the production of ELK product or
Ah,
ELK
okay.
application?
I don't know exactly the number of documents that we had, but we had a customer that has a traffic of 1 terabyte of logs per day. So I don't know how many entries are there, but we are talking about a lot of a lot of entries, because 1 terabyte of entries are a lot of amount. It's a very very big amount of information. We are talking about billions of logs per day. Uh, but this is not a problem for this stack, because the only thing that you need is to make it bigger. We need more Elasticsearch nodes or more Logstacks nodes. Just one Kibana, this is enough. But the question is that Elasticsearch, it's very easy to improve it's easy to improve all these things with Elasticsearch, because adding more nodes, it's a very very easy task. I could show you how to do it, but I think that I'm out of time for this thing. But you can look for some information about this thing, and you will find how easy it is to add more nodes or things to Elasticsearch, and the same for Logstacks, really, actually. Uh, any other question? I don't know if I have answered your question or not,
Yes,
because I don't know exactly the number, sorry.
yes, there is satisfaction here.
Okay.
Okay, I think nobody has any other questions, so thank you very much, Alberto, for having us and having you here, and we are looking forward to see you the next time.
Okay, thank you all of you. I hope you enjoyed this presentation.
Okay, bye bye.
Okay, bye bye.